Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 23 of Let's Play Pillars of Eternity. In the last the Tale of Aldwyn. In the last part, we made a new friend in the look of this Sagini, one of those.
Sure.
Her and her pet fox that honestly doesn't look like a fucking fox. But let's talk to her. She wants to talk to us. Sagani draws up beside you, her fox following at her heels, and takes a seat next to you.
Even if you are putting one over on me, it's nice to have a hunting party again.
You've been searching for Persok for 5 years.
5 years for me. Must be 30-something for Ichimok.
Hearing its name, the fox looks up. How is the search going?
It's been a long hunt. A long time away from my family. Before, I'd crossed the tundra of Nasitok following caribou herds. I didn't want to leave Kalu and our children, but I was eager to visit lands my people rarely do. But 5 years without finding him. It's like 2 hours of necking. I'm ready to be done with it.
Why'd you have to find Persok?
Soul recovery is an old village tradition. We call it the Tarnek Elitsak. Once in a generation, we seek the soul of a much respected and long dead village elder. We tell him what's changed in the village, how people remember him. The only other Tarnek Elitsak during my lifetime happened when I was a girl. Not long after Persok died. We feasted on blubber and fermented milk for a week, and we honored the chosen huntress as a hero. Then she left, and we returned to our duties. We still sang her name to the skies during festival season, but we otherwise didn't speak of her.
I see.
It's not being forgotten by my village that troubles me, but sometimes I wonder how my husband and children remember me, if they think of me often.
That must be difficult.
Still, there's no point in dwelling on it. More often, I find myself wondering whether Persok will remember us. You claim to see souls. What do you think? Do you remember your past lives?
In fragments. Really? What's it like? It's strange. It feels just like I'm going crazy most of the time. She sits back. I don't envy you. Guess I'm lucky I only have to worry about someone else's past life.
Makes me wonder what Persok remembers about our village. Or if a turn at the wheel has yanked the details out of his mind like it does for most of us.
Has your village changed much since his time?
Masuk is probably much the same as it was 100 years ago. We live between tundra and frozen forests, and the land takes as much as it gives. But our hardships bring us together. And the elders truly unite us. They keep the stories of past generations, and they guide us from season to season, through good years and lean.
Itumak brushes up against her hip, and she scratches his head. Recently, there's been a lot of good years. My aunt says we've had fewer clashes with the neighbouring villages thanks to the hunting territories that Persok helped establish. In bad years, we rely on trade with the merchants that pass our shores. We exchange walrus tusks and seal pelts for grains that last us the hard winters. Persok brokered a lot of those agreements too. She holds up a bear figurine. He got this from one of the Amura ships that used to trade with us. Sounds like Persok did a lot for your people.
That's what I'm supposed to remind him.
Sounds like you're on a hunt of your own though. You feeling the thrill of the chase, or ready for this to be over? It's too early to tell. She nods. Fair enough. She raises and stretches, looking around. We've got darkness on our side. Shall I move on? Let's go. Alright, so we can actually finally finish exploring the Wood End Plains, not Woodland Plains. You win some, you lose some, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to actually pronouncing shit. Or at least I do anyway. So, I don't think there was anything in that burnt down house. No, it's a burnt down house. You would expect nothing to be there. I don't think there's anything in the rest of this place either. I say that, and there's a quagga. Is she alone though? She is alone, so this fight should not be hard at all. Should be a quick slap and dash.
That's not very helpful.
I say slap and dash. Slap and dash to everyone. You know. Jesus fucking Christ, what the fuck is happening? She's dead, so it doesn't matter. But how the fuck did you guys take so much damage? Alright, that's not... I mean, that didn't go the best, but... I mean, it never does when I come back to a new session, so what can you do? Alright, we have a extra party member right now. The wolf can go in the front of the formation. Yeah, and that one, it can go... Wait. Oh, right, I got rid of Esme, didn't I? So, yeah. It's probably going to be me at the front, actually, now. Of all those, I make the most sense. That's going to be problematic when I get killed by most things. Oh, well. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, just filling out the last of this. We're going to be in the city next soon, so I don't think we're going to have too many run-ins with... Well, no, it's a city and an RPG. It's probably going to be a decent amount of run-ins with people who want to kill you, so... Yeah, probably should watch out. Let's line up here. Make sure we've got our the right formation moving forward. Don't want my guys to be out of formation and get killed. Alright, looks like we just got some loot over here. What's this? So, wine dregs swirl around the bottom of the clay jar. Fair enough. Some copper and a bow. Nothing overly interesting. And it looks like we've completely scouted this bitch. Let's get ourselves to Defiance Bay. Don't think she needs any new stuff. Well, I don't think we don't have armor to give her. And bow-wise, she's already got a special hunting bow. So there's nothing I can specifically give her that is new or interesting. So just get ourselves going. I do need to use the scouting mode a little bit more, but we did get rid of Esme, so we do have that to remember. Yeah, well, to be fair, though, we gained 2 party members for the exchange of 1. And we can make her a melee fighter if we need to. It might actually... She has like an extra 100 health on me. So we're going to go to the Aldwyn bridge. Take us 4 hours to get there. That's a long walk. Shouldn't be too bad, though. Now, I'm actually going to change up the formation to allow her to take my place. And I'm going to actually switch her weapons to... I know it's not the unique set, but I'd rather she be the... Oh. Yeah, let's do these. So reach out for the soul. You see a ship being tossed about in a storm-ravaged sea. The swells rise and fall, carrying the ship with them as if it were a toy. This man stands on the deck at the helm of a ship, while water whips around him. The crew moves about frantically, trying to keep the chaos under control. He barks orders at them, pointing where to go and giving each one a task. The men, while still visibly distressed, seem to calm down when they are given their orders. He instructs the helmsman to resume his duties at the wheel and rushes to the aid of the crewman who is struggling with a rope attached to one of the sails. The ship crests a wave, going almost vertically in one direction and then immediately again in the other direction. Several of the crew are thrown from their feet, sliding across the deck as the ship is rocks. Across the deck as the ship is rocks. Okay. After the swell passes and the ship returns to a relatively normal orientation, the man quickly scans the deck, counting silently. No one has been lost at this time, thankfully. He looks in the direction they're headed, seeing no reprieve from the storm in sight. His jaw squared and his upper lip stiffened. He returns to the helm and takes the wheel again. Ooh, as you near this woman, let's have a look. You see a lavishly decorated room, walls hung with tapestries, ornate oil lamps creating a warm, relaxing atmosphere. There are several overstuffed couches covered with silk pillows and an elegant table in the middle of the floor. This woman is seated at the table, sitting across from another woman. They are both well dressed, their style befitting the room they're in. The other woman's hair is blonde, in stark contrast to the woman's black and... This woman's black and is swept... Okay, and is swept up on her head in dramatic style. The woman speaks in an easy, free tone. obviously familiar with one another. Though they each seem to be comfortable in the other's company, a strange nervousness surrounds the blonde woman's actions. She occasionally betrays herself with a little giggle or stammer, hitching over an easy word as she speaks. Her demeanour swings from friendly to shy and back again with no warning. This woman leans back in the chair a little, in her chair, stretching slightly. As she finishes her stretch, she gently lays her hand on the next to the woman's hand, letting their fingers subtly intertwine. The second woman stops speaking mid-sentence, inhales sharply, and turns red. She does not, however, move her hand. This woman smiles and moves her hand further over the other, holding it. She then stands, moving around the table towards the blonde woman, whose face shows conflicting emotions of terror and lust. She giggles and pulls her hand out from under the other and brings it to her mouth, the red of the face deepening. This woman stops, looking down at her eyes sparkling. She reaches out and pulls something from the blonde's hair, letting it fall around her shoulders. Then she leans over, brushing her lips lightly over the blonde woman's cheek, resting her mouth against her ear. As she whispers, her hand moves livelily down the other woman's body to her waist. The blonde shudders and leans into the hand, eyes closing, cheeks pressing against the lips, still whispering in the ear. The woman's hand deftly removes a small bag from the other woman's belt and secretes it under her own cloak at the small of her bag. Then she gently kisses the other woman's cheek and stands again, the smile never leaving her mouth. Wow, a really fucking good thief then. Commoner. And commoner. Well, we can ignore them. Commoner. Oh, please don't tell me this is 3 people to read. Nope, just one more. Let's go. As you near, you feel a vibrant history. Good. You see a flurry of matted white hair and an incandescent freeze-fire staff before you see the man, cold and wild. He chews a wizened apple slowly, discharging spell after spell into the jumble of villagers screeching their way towards him. Cold flame vents from his nose, and apple seeds shoot out of the other side of his mouth as he saunters forward, ignoring arrows and curses alike. A deliberate twist of his staff and a bullet of force glides through the torso of one assailant and another. A roar blisters his throat as he launches himself into the midst, tearing it into the essence with his staff. A pleading hand reaches toward him and quickly falls, ignored. Silence takes hold as the tattered man gathers his prize, a basket of fresh pears. He hums as he eats.
Yeah.
That's a bit fucking harsh just for some plums. But then again, some people are fucking assholes. What can you do? Welcome to Defiance Bay. Watch yourself in our city, understand? Sure. So first things first, we're going to go to Copper Lane. Let's go.
Defiance Bay, the city at the heart of the Deerwoods Revolution, now seems on the brink of another. Refugees line the streets, homeless and hungry, displaced by Whitewind's legacy, hoping for relief within the city walls, and finding none. Dissidents congregate to protest and to heckle, calling for an end to ennomancy and the ouster of their duke. The city's militiamen cast fearful looks as they patrol the streets, their hands trembling at the hilts of their weapons. The capital of a country that had not long ago incinerated a god now appears to be a spark away from sharing the deity's fate.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we finished Act 1, so let's see what Act 2 has in store for us. First things first, we're going to check, see if any loot is available.
Those walls surround the whole city?
Got some protesters, and I'm guessing this guy's a named character.
Hail and well met.
Rowan's arms are crossed, and his mouth is set in a grim frown as he watches the gathered protesters. He looks ready for a fight. He sizes you up. New in town, eh? You picked an interesting time to visit Defiance Bay. All these refugees fleeing the frontier and finding their legacies no better here. It's the Animanters, Magrans scorch them, and they nest in the sea like rats. Mark my words though, there's dozens are gonna put a stop to it. What are you doing out here? He gestures at the crowd, which buzzes with angry chatter, trying to get folk to see reason. We're in the midst of a crisis and instead of purging the nefarious forces from our city, the Duke is granting animancers dangerous liberties. What do you know about animancy? It's a study and manipulation of essence, which any sane person will tell you is the preview of the gods. The Aldyrians, at least, had the sense to outlaw it, which is the only good thing you can say about them. It's not like magic, chanting, or the soul reading those ciphers do. It's been around since the Gwyffin's times, which is why you see animators tinkering with old Gwyffin artifacts. Connor raises a fist to cough discreetly into it. Half-truths. All. But he's an enthusiastic performer, I'll give him that. He shakes his head. Trouble is, the animator's got no idea what half those artifacts actually do. Not that I'll admit it. Our empathetic friend is correct about one thing at least. Tell me about the dozens. He taps his chest. We're an organization of interested civilians who want to free Defiance Bay from the dangerous influence of animals and the tyranny of the aristocrats who support them. We also consider ourselves a militia of sorts, seeing as the Crucible Knights are little more than a flock of Pyrenean nobles in training these days. Just like a militia, the dozens. Except for the training and the discipline, and the code of honor. His eyes gleam, and we are always ready to looking to expand. The more people see things our way, the better for the state of the country. You have any interest in hearing more? Stop by Admas Den sometime. The exhibition hall. Lots of free thinkers in there. Can set straight all the nonsense the nobles and the animators want you to believe. Might even be some paid work for the motivated types. I'd like to know more about Defiance Bay. This is the capital of the Free Palatine of the Deerwood. We started out as a capital of the Aldyrian colony, but we booted the flaccid scepter from these lands 150 years ago. These days we're a major port receiving trade and visitors from all over the world. But we, some of us anyway, strive to hold onto the pioneering spirit that earned us freedom a century and a half ago. The city is divided into 5 districts. Copper Lane, First Fires, Undra's Gift, Brackenbury, and Heritage Hall. He ticks off each one on a calloused finger. Let's talk about Copper Lane first. This here is Copper Lane. He taps a scuffed boot on the cobblestone. It's primarily a market district, but you'll also get the exhibition hall directly north of here, where you can join treks into the wilds. There's also my fellow dozens martyrs, and I tend to meet up with my other concerned citizens. He points to a long domed building west and north of your position, and that's the hall of the revealed mysteries. Eerie place, you ask me, but they've got the biggest library in the Deerwood. Connor laughs. Eerie indeed. It might be less so if the Kif stepped inside. Perhaps we ought to visit Aldwyn and see what mysteries are revealed. Tell me about Brackenbury. A noisy disgust rattled in his throat. The nobility that didn't sail back to Adir stayed there. Most of the families there traced their lineage back to the old imperial times. Other than a lot of has-been nobility, you've got the Hadron House, where Lady Webb and her spies operate, and Brackenbury Sanitarium, the main cesspit of animancy in the city. He spits on the cobblestone. Tell me about First Fires. That's where the revolution started, hence the name. These days it's overrun with politicians and panderers, but we'll take it back someday. That's where you'll find the Ducal Palace, the Valenian Embassy, and the Crucible Keep. He shakes his head. The Crucible Knights were the original freedom fighters in Defiance Bay, but now they're just strutting peacocks with their eyes on fancy titles and the heads up their own asses. There's an old temple of Wedeka there too. We keep it real nice for her, he winks. Tell me about Andra's Gift. Got the name because it was wetland that was drained back in the Imperial days. Now it's the seedy district, populated by sailors, common folk, and more than a few thugs. But it's a fun place too, if you know where to look. He winks and elbows you. Look for a place called Salty Mast when you're there. Other than that, it's mostly a warehouse and abandoned homes. Tell me about Heritage Hill. He shivers. It used to be one of the more prestigious districts in the city. Heroes of the Revolution claimed plots up there next to an ancient Gwyffin tower and the city cemetery. Wow. Had the best views in Defiance Bay. Attracts richer types these days. Lot of animancy patrons, he spits. He glanced at the crowd and lowers his voice. You wouldn't have heard, but something happened over there a couple of months ago. The authorities sealed it off and they're keeping their mouths shut, but mark my words, animancy's to blame. Never mind, let's talk about something else. What do you want to know? Sod all, mate. You've told me pretty much everything you can. So see anyone else? Nope, no one else over here has got anything interesting to talk to me about. Or let me read. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we've hit the 20-minute mark, and I'll see you guys next part. See you guys then.